Good morning, wonderful students. I'm Teacher Kelley, and I'm so happy to be with you here today. Today, we're going to become scientists. More specifically, we'll become botanists. Let me go ahead and write that down for you. Botanist. Does anybody know what a botanist studies? A botanist is a type of scientist. They study, here's a hint, that's a flower. Botanists study plants like flowers and trees and grass, beautiful bushes and wonderful plants. That's what botanists study. And today, you and I are going to become botanists. And the very first thing that a scientist wants to do is ask a question. So the question that we're going to try to answer today is, what does a plant need to grow? Let's find out together. Are you ready? Great, let's get started. So, what do you know about what a plant needs to grow? And think about what we as humans also need to grow. It's not that much different from plants. Plants are a type of life, just like we are a type of life. We can empathize with plants. We can respect plants because we all grow, humans and plants. So, what does a plant need to grow? A plant starts as a little seed and it grows up into a big flower or a beautiful tree. And what does it need? Think about what we need as well. Just like humans need water, a plant needs water. So, in order for this little seed to grow up into a beautiful flower, it needs water. And we'll put that in the form of rainwater. That's a cloud with rain coming down onto our little seed here. What else does a plant need? A plant, just like a human, needs to breathe. It needs air. So just like we breathe, a plant also needs the different constituents, the different parts of air in order for it to grow. So here we have our cloud and we have our air. So isn't that interesting? Plants need water. We need water. Plants need air. We need air. What else does a plant need? A plant needs sunlight from our beautiful sun. That's right, very good. And the plant needs the earth beneath it, the soil, to provide it with nutrients so it can grow big and strong from a small seed into a beautiful flower. And the last thing that a plant needs to grow from a small seed into a beautiful flower is just like humans. It doesn't happen immediately, it's not instant. Plants need time. That's right. Time is one of the most important factors of a plant growing, just like it is one of the most important factors of a human growing. And so these are all important because they do something amazing to help the plant perform photosynthesis. And this is a word that I want to teach you today and that I want for us all to learn and practice saying. So I'll write it here on the board. Photosynthesis. Go ahead and repeat that. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is how a plant makes its food using sunlight, carbon dioxide from the air, and water. All of these factors together foster the process of photosynthesis, which is how a plant grows from a tiny seed into a beautiful flower. And that is how the plant provides itself with energy. How do humans provide ourselves with energy? We eat food. We eat food and we drink water. A plant is not that much different from a human. They need various things like nutrients from the soil, water, and carbon dioxide from the air, and sunlight to perform the process of photosynthesis, which gives them energy. Just like eating food, we take in nutrients. That gives us energy. Therefore, we can empathize with plants. We are not that different from plants, right? So, who wants to do an experiment so that we can learn about all of these different factors that go into plant growth? Let's do an experiment. So fun. So, what I would do at this point, and this is me speaking as I'm doing a teaching demonstration, I don't have students here with me, but what I would do is I would have prepared 4 cups per student, 4 tiny little cups. So, just a small cup. 4 cups per student. And what we would do is have cup A, B, C, and D. And I would have purchased and brought some radish seeds. Those are really fun in a science classroom because they're easy to grow. They grow really quickly. So I'll write that on the board as well, just for reference. We would have radish seeds. Um, and so what we would do is have this would be a controlled experiment and it would take some time. So we would today go through the very first part of setting up the experiment and then over time learn how all of the different factors that go into plant growth would affect how our plants grow. So in cup A, we would use no water, but we would have soil and our seed and sunlight and all of that, all of the other things that we discussed earlier in the course. Cup B, we would have no sunlight, so we would keep it in the dark. Cup C, we would have no soil, so just air. No soil, but all of the other factors. And then cup D would be our cup that has everything that we discussed that a plant needs. So that would be, it would have sunlight and soil and water. And of course, each of these we would have our seed in there, our radish seed. And these would just be very little cups that we could set up, together and start that process of understanding that this is where this wonderful form of life, plants, comes from, and discussing all of the different factors of what needs to happen in order for a plant to germinate. So I would teach them the term germinate and germination. I'll write that down as well. And I would likewise continue teaching the concept of photosynthesis, and we would do photosynthesis. I promise I can spell that. Photosynthesis, and we would do that using this experiment. So I would also discuss the scientific method. This is a controlled experiment. And that is a great way to introduce students to the concept of hypotheses and asking questions and testing. And here we have our controls and all that fun stuff. So this would be a great way to learn about germination, photosynthesis, the scientific process, and also get hands-on. We could go outside and see plants in various states of growth. And I just think it would be a wonderful thing for the students to set up the process of a plant growing on their own, and we would keep those in the classroom and move forward in that way. So after we would get all of our cups set up, which would be really fun, I would provide, soil and the seeds, and we would all have our individual cups. I would go forward and try to further connect the human experience to the plant experience. So I would ask questions like, if you were a plant, which cup would you want to be in? And of course, most students would likely say cup D because that is the cup that provides nutrition and sunlight and water and all of the things that a plant needs to grow. So this would be a long-term test a very dynamic, changing experiment that changes as the classes go on, and we continue learning more and more about plant sciences. I just think that that would be a great way for students to engage that. So at the end of the course, I've explained this experiment here. So after the end of the class, I would go ahead and pass out paper to each student, and we would work together to create essentially a chart to track the growth or how each of our cups are doing. So, we would have our cup A, B, C, D. Here, I'll make that chart. Our cup A, B, C, D, and of course A, our cup with no water, our cup with no sun, our cup with no soil, and then our cup with all of them. And then we would, check in on day one, and we'll see that, not much has happened because a big factor in plant growth is time, as we discussed. So this is a chance for us to discuss time and growth and how, it's something that humans also go through is growing up over time. It doesn't happen instantly, just like it wouldn't happen instantly for a plant. We would check in on day 3, day 5, day 7, and moving forward, we would continue to check in on our plants, our radish seeds that sprout very quickly, and just write down the different characteristics that we see. We might see, even in cup C where there's no soil, we might see, like um, stuff floating in the water that maybe shouldn't be there, or things like mold and stuff like that. So it would just be a great way to encourage the students to see growth over time and learn all of the various facets. So uh, after we created our charts, we would keep those in our folders and continue to update those as our plants grow. And then at the very end of the course, I'll go ahead and wrap this up as if I'm speaking to the students. So at the very end of the course, we would wrap up and discuss how we feel about what we learned today and how we can relate more to plants now that we know that they also need warmth, they need the sun, they need the sun's rays, just like we love to be outside on beautiful days when it's sunny. We love to go to the beach. We need warm weather so that we don't get too cold. We can empathize with plants as they also need the sun. Similarly, we need air, and that's a cloud just to denote air. We need air, we breathe air, just like plants need carbon dioxide from the air. That is a way that we can empathize with plants. Like plants, we need water, we need to drink, as do plants. And like plants, we need nutrients. And we take that through food, they take that through the soil, through sunlight. Um, and something that I would love to emphasize is, of course, the passage of time. So we need time just as plants need time. I think that would be a great thing to really focus on in this sort of lesson is time and seeing our plants germinate and grow and how it differs based upon the various factors that go into it. And this would help us discuss the scientific process, as well as, we would learn about photosynthesis, germination, with a focus on empathy, the fact that plants are also living beings. And in our wonderful country, Taiwan, there are plants that make this country so beautiful, and they're to be respected, and they're wonderful things, just like we as humans are individually and together such wonderful things. So we are all life, we are all to be respected, and plants have an identity. They make Taiwan even more beautiful. So yeah, that is something that I would really enjoy emphasizing is time, beauty, empathy, respect, and all of that great stuff that comes with exploring the world of plants, along with introducing some scientific language like photosynthesis, germination, encouraging group work as we work together to look at how our cups are progressing, our radish seeds. So, being a plant scientist, a botanist, as we would put on our botany hats, um, It requires looking closely, asking questions, treating living things with care. We would treat our radish seeds with a lot of care. Um, so yeah, that is my lesson plan and what I would do for students in a science class. I really appreciate you watching, and I thank you very much. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.